next news. Breaking news.
Right now, the election fight just entered a whole new phase. President Donald Trump's no longer talking only about what happened in one race or 1 year. He's talking about the system itself. Who verifies voters? Who counts ballots? How long counting drags on, and whether Washington should step in when the states fail. And suddenly, what Democrats used to mock as a fringe concern is becoming the central battle of 2026. Why? Because a new criminal case, a California controversy, and even the polls are all pointing in the same direction. The question is no longer just who won. The question is, can Americans trust the rules at all? I'll tell you why this matters, because for years the establishment tried to reduce election integrity to a talking point, something they could sneer at on cable TV while ordinary Americans watched late counts, changing rules, and wildly different standards from state to state. But now the argument has moved. President Trump just said that if a state cannot run an election honestly, the federal government should do something about it. That is massive escalation, and it comes as a real indictment out of Massachusetts alleged an illegal alien lived under a stolen identity for years, pulled more than $400,000 in taxpayer-funded benefits, and voted in 5 presidential elections, including in 2024. That's not a theory. That is a verification failure. And when Democrats like Senator Alex Padilla attack the Save America Act, a basic citizenship protection measure, they're exposing the real divide. You see, Republicans want standards, proof, and confidence. Democrats keep defending a patchwork system that leaves Americans wondering whether the rules are built for citizens or for chaos. And while we're talking about fixing what's broken, let me tell you about something that helped me in my own home. You've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson talking about people close to them who face serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies working at the cellular level. Gibson just says this stuff works, and that got my attention. In my own life, I saw something similar. My wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety, and it wore her down. Then we discovered red light therapy and started learning from Jonathan Otto. He's been a guest on this channel countless times. The interviews are eye-opening. You see, the difference was remarkable. More calm, better recovery, real relief. If you've been curious, go to myredlight.com and see what's available. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. Sometimes the smartest move is simple. Support your body naturally and give it the tools to heal itself. Now back to the story, because what's happening on elections is getting harder for the media to spin away. And I'll tell you, this is the twist the media doesn't want to admit. This is no longer mainly about proving one isolated act of fraud. It's about whether the election system is designed in a way that invites doubt. Why are ballots counted weeks later in some places? Why are verification standards all over the map? Why is proof of citizenship treated like some radical idea? Why is California becoming the example everybody points to, either as a warning sign or as the model? See, that's what the left wants to spread. And that's where this battle is heading. President Trump dropping a bombshell calling for the federalization of elections to crush voter fraud and protect every American vote once and for all.
15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
But the Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President.
Trump just laid out the case for federal action if states keep botching elections. Now, Here's the kind of case that blows up the left's denials. An illegal immigrant convicted after voting in 5 presidential elections and pulling in more than $400,000 in benefits. Conspiracy theory no more. Lina Maria Orivo Hernandez, living under a stolen identity for more than 2 decades, indicted for defrauding the American taxpayer.
Battle over voter ID heating up on Capitol Hill. A jury just convicted a woman in Massachusetts of voter fraud. Prosecutors say that she also stole more than $400,000 in federal benefits. White House correspondent Aisha Hasni reports live from the North Lawn. Hi, Aisha.
Hey there, Martha. We're talking about a 59-year-old illegal immigrant who's been in the country for years, stole someone else's identity, and then voted in the 2024 presidential election. Take a look at this photo here. This is Lina Maria Orovio Hernandez. In this picture, you can see her, Martha, wearing that I voted sticker that we all get when we go to cast our ballots. She's also convicted of stealing $400,000, as you mentioned, in benefits. She apparently used her fake identity to obtain multiple state IDs and also a passport. So the president this morning, on Sunday, posted this on Truth Social. America's elections are rigged, stolen, and a laughingstock all over the world. He is calling for voter ID, proof of citizenship, and bans on mail-in ballots as he supports the SAVE Act on Capitol Hill. That's a Republican-led voter ID bill that is expected to hit the floor of the House this week. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is claiming the bill is just an attempt by Republicans to rig the midterm elections.
The question is that what Republicans are trying to do is to engage in clear and blatant voter suppression. They know that if there's a free and fair election in November, they're going to lose.
Okay, but not all Democrats out there actually feel that way.
And now, me as a Democrat, I do not believe that it's unreasonable or to show ID just to vote. And I remind everybody that less than a year ago in Wisconsin, they added that to the Constitution by a 63%. So it's not a radical idea for regular Americans to show your ID to vote.
Martha.
So that's why voter ID keeps winning with normal Americans, no matter how hard Democrats scream. Next, Senator Alex Padilla goes on TV claiming Republicans are the ones trying to rig the system with the SAVE Act.
You said it at the top. This is a solution in search of a problem. All the studies, all the audits, all the reports show voter fraud is exceedingly rare, but there's a couple things we know about the administration. Number one, they don't like dissent. They don't like people disagreeing with them. Number two, they don't like accountability. That's why they resist congressional oversight so much, whether it's in the halls of Congress, at detention centers, or anywhere else. And third, they don't like people voting against them or against their agenda, and they're setting the stage to try to rig this November's election in so many ways before ballots are even cast.
So Padilla says that securing the vote is the threat, which tells you everything about the playbook. Next up, Mike Johnson zeroes in on California's ballot counting and says the whole thing reeks.
Speaking of fraud, the president keeps saying that there's election fraud in the California mayor's race. What evidence is there to prove that?
You tell me, Manu. They are counting votes weeks after the election. We have entire nations with huge populations, like India, that can count their votes in 24 to 48 hours.
You're saying it's rigged like the president?
I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm saying it stinks to high heaven, and everybody knows that. Let's remove the appearance of impropriety. Let's have what a concept. Let's have votes on an election the day of the election. That's what many states are able to do. I think California is playing around with this.
But what evidence is there to prove that there was this rigged?
Some of these efforts are so diabolical and so far upstream that it's impossible to prove. But I think everybody knows instinctively something is wrong here. And that's a concern. We need people to believe in the integrity of our election system. It is critical to maintain a constitutional republic. We're going to keep working to pass the Save America Act because it requires, as you know, proof of citizenship and a photo ID to vote. Those are also 90% plus issues in public opinion, and 70% of Democrats understand that's necessary.
Aren't you all just saying that because you've lost the election because the Republicans did not win in this race? This is why you're hearing that?
I'm saying that every leader of all parties should demand election integrity. And if somebody is opposing that, you should look at their motives. That's what I'm saying.
We'll see you later.
So Johnson's point is simple. When ballots drag on for weeks, trust disappears, and while Democrats keep defending that mess, the numbers are turning against them in a new midterm poll. Democrats have just plummeted 5 points in the 2026 congressional ballot, now 46% to Republicans' 44. YouGov economists, even CNN admitted Democrats' lead is declining. Now President Trump has achieved victory in Iran.
Take a look here. Okay, this is Congress National June polls, Dem leads, and this is NBC News, midterm years with the GOP press. Look at this. They're up by 5 points, but that's half the lead they had back in 2018 when it was 10 points, and less than half the lead they had back in 2006 with 11 points when Democrats took back the House in both of those years. And now the Democratic lead is on a single hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And it's this type of lead where you say, you know what, Democrats are ahead, but don't count your chickens just quite yet.
And Harry, we've been talking about this. As time goes on, you and I have kept on looking at these numbers saying it just doesn't look like the numbers we've seen when there have been waves for Democrats in the past. What are the trends in the other polls?
Yeah, okay, so this is not just one poll in which we are seeing this. There is this group of pollsters that are out there that are just not showing the wave you might expect given where the president's approval rating is. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about NBC, Marquette University Law School, in Ipsos. Look at where they were January and February, and look at where they are May and June. NBC, down a point. MU Law, down 3 points. Ipsos, basically staying the same.
So even CNN has to admit Democrats aren't building the kind of wave they were counting on next. Jillian Michaels says out loud, well, more Americans are starting to realize Trump may be the last line of defense for free and fair elections.
To be honest, it seems to me that he is the only one standing between us and the complete loss of free and fair elections. You know, I used to think that Trump was insane for suggesting that the 2020 election was stolen. And now I'm actually not so sure. Because these animals in California are not just changing election law, they're changing what elections actually are. And California is not the end of this story, it's the blueprint. And here's the thing. Everything we just walked through, that's the surface. That's the part that's documented, that's litigated, that's on the record and already legal. So no matter how nefarious or corrupt it may be, they made it legal. But here's what they didn't count on. They didn't count on us. They didn't count on this. The fact that 30 million Californians now have a roadmap. Not a rumor, not a conspiracy theory, but a documented, sourced, time-stamped account of exactly how this is done and exactly who did it. And you can't unknow this. And they can't unbuild what they built in the dark now that it's standing in the light. And the fight for California is the fight for the country, guys. And it starts with conversations like this one.
So that's the big shift from someone who wants to dismiss Trump's election warnings. And now the message is clear with the blunt statement from Homeland Security. American elections belong to American citizens. End of story. The only people who should be voting in federal elections are true American citizens. So it lays it out plain. Meanwhile, Los Angeles election fight gets even dirtier as Spencer Pratt hints he's got a recording that could force Karen Bass or Neetha Raman into disgrace.
Doing and saying something that would make her resign in shame. So Karen, Nithya, ask yourself, is it possible that one of your employees may have a recording of you doing or saying something that would force you to resign in disgrace?
And look, he said, I'm not one of the final two people in the race. He actually said you have a choice between Dumb and Dumber in another part of the video. This guy's not going away.
No, that's an intriguing little tease. We'll see what they produce. But this is something, and I didn't want to be like a Debbie Downer over the course of this campaign, and I thought that he's a very interesting, captivating person.
So it's not just accusations. Pratt is threatening receipts, and the pressure gets even worse for Karen Bass, where even her own brother is tied to a lawsuit hammering over the fire response. This from Trump Daily Post. LA Mayor Karen Bass' brother unites with Spencer Pratt to sue his sister, the LA mayor.
A while ago, we Palisades Fire victims are now in the discovery phase of our lawsuit against the state of California and the city of LA. Over the next weeks, you'll finally learn shocking details of how badly Karen and Newsom screwed our town, and they haven't done anything to change. No more lies. Now, Mayor Bass has publicly spoken about her brother's home burning, and her office writes in a statement, thousands of people are plaintiffs in this action, which names 18 public and private sector defendants. The city's attorney's office office is responsible for defending the city and DWP in this lawsuit. A California Post reporter caught up with Bass last Thursday, and she did not answer questions on this matter.
Mayor Bass, just a comment about your brother Kenneth suing the city.
See you at the next one, Mayor.
Okay. Just a comment, please.
So Bass getting hit from every direction, including from her own family. But after Pratt said he had the evidence, what happened next raises even more questions. A fire breaks out at his former campaign headquarters.
Morning, a fire broke out at former L.A. mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt's campaign office in Pacific Palisades this week. A photojournalist with the Palasadian Post captured this drone video of firefighters on the roof. They say light smoke was showing from the building on Palisades Drive just after 6 on Thursday evening. It took firefighters about an hour to knock down that fire. Arson units were requested, but there's still no word tonight on a cause of that fire. In a social media post, Pratt claimed this was the work of arsonists.
So after the suspicious fire, the demand for answers only gets louder. Next, we get a sign this may be moving beyond talk, with U.S. Attorney in California expected a voter fraud probe to bring charges. U.S. Attorney in California suspects voter fraud investigation will result in charges. So what does this all really mean? It means that election integrity has become a structural argument, not just a retrospective one. Speaker Mike Johnson is calling out California for counts that drag on absurdly long. Jillian Michaels, not exactly a MAGA caricature, is openly saying Trump may be the only one standing between America and the collapse of free and fair elections. A U.S. attorney in California now suspects a voter fraud probe could produce charges. At the center of it all is one idea: standardization, the Save America Act, voter ID, citizenship verification, cleaner rolls, same-day clarity. That is why Trump's comments matter so much. The Trump administration and its allies are not merely contesting narratives anymore. They're building the case for national rules that put citizens first and restore public confidence. So don't let the pundits distract you with side drama and personalities. Yes, California is messy. Yes, Karen Bass is under fire. Yes, Spencer Pratt is making headlines. But the bigger fight is about the rules that will govern American elections going forward. President Trump sees it. Republicans in Congress see it. And more voters are seeing it too, which is exactly why Democrats are panicking and pretending that there's no problem. There is a problem. And the American people know it every time they watch delayed counting, weak verification, and total resistance to common sense safeguards. The answer is very simple. American elections should be decided by American citizens under clear, enforceable, transparent rules. If you agree, share this report everywhere. Subscribe if you're tired of the media cover-up, and I want to hear from you in the comments. Should the Trump administration push national election standards and proof of citizenship protections, yes or no? Let's have a conversation. Let's make sure you get the news you depend on. Don't wait for the algorithm to surface our reports. Don't wait for notifications that never arrive. Join the thousands and thousands of patriots who are already getting the inside track directly from the Next News Network, directly from me to their phones. They've already texted raw feed to 844-840-4963. And that's what I want you to do too. Join us. And make sure you're celebrating all these wins with America 250 upon us. Check out the Next News merch shelf below this video or go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.